from? And where are we going?
Welcome to Red Ice Creations Radio. This is Henrik Palmgren, and we are coming to you from the west coast of Sweden. Thank you for tuning in. Good to have you here. Our website is redicecreations.com. News, radio, film, and much more. Thanks to everyone who sent us email and feedback on our latest short film, Longevity and the Grail, that we recently got up in our new member section. And more is on the way. Today we're talking to Michael Tsarion. Once a month we have Michael with us on the program. MichaelTsarion.com is the website that you need to take a good look at and follow the links from there to his other sites. The new book, a fully illustrated 2-volume magnum opus that rewrites the history of Ireland, Egypt and the world. The follow-up to the acclaimed book Atlantis, Alien Visitation and Genetic Manipulation, Michael Tsarion's The Irish Origins of Civilization, concentrates on the fate of the world after the fall of Atlantis and the birth of evil. In the tradition of Zecharia Sitchin and Immanuel Velikovsky, Michael's investigation revealed the reason for the eradication of the Druids and highlight for the first time the terrible campaign of genocide against the ancient Irish elders, whose knowledge enriched the world's cultures. Michael exposes the true origins of the world's premier secret society and reveals the remarkable mysteries that they have been sworn to guard by sword and deception. And when I read the new book, Michael, I'm made aware of how much ancient history matters for an understanding of today's world, and the lack of historical awareness assists the power brokers to control the world.
Thank you, Henrik. Yeah, that's absolutely right, especially the second sentence. I think as time goes by, people are going to become more and more aware of this. I've always been aware of it. And of course my work is primarily following on in the tradition of many a maverick author and researcher who adamantly believed that. And nobody heard those guys at the time. But I believe that we're in an age where maybe people can grasp this point, not only the simple statement of fact that ancient history matters or that history matters. I mean, you should have learned that in your ordinary schools, sitting in history class. I'm sure that everybody's history teacher, pretty much rammed that into your head. It happens to be true. It may have been the only true thing that you learned in history class, but at least it is true. And the second part that you said there, that the lack of our consistent awareness of that is the reason why we're able to be so manipulated. There's no doubt in my mind that the person who doesn't understand what history is and how important it is not going to have a faintest idea what's happening in today's world. They're just going to read the newspapers and they're going to be plugged into the consensus, but they're never going to understand it. More than that, they're actually lunatics, because by not understanding, the importance of ancient history, it's almost like saying you and your children are born in some cocoon, in a completely sanitized,
cut off, isolated environment.
That's right. Yeah. You don't think that the blood running through your veins is the blood of your forefathers? So we're not talking about dry history of some, bottom shelves of a library, of an archive. You are history. You are history. So when you're studying history in any shape or form, you are studying yourself. You are studying who you are. And therefore, it's the study of man. History is the study of man. But this study of man has been manipulated, as I've said so many times. The people, the power brokers of the world, don't want you to know what really happened in history, because that would empower you. So they have written and rewritten and fabricated and lied and manipulated the history of the world so that you have a very shaky of understanding of history. You have a very shaky understanding of the mysteries of evolution. And people walking around still today can't work out whether God created two people to run around naked in a Garden of Eden, and that started us off. And as that story becomes preposterous, they hand us another one called evolution, which is equally preposterous, equally mythological. So we're still running around absolutely stark naked mentally, not knowing how even the hominids, who was here, how did the races get created. Then people like myself are talking about an alien visitation that changed the course of the world. So we don't come from this sterile incubator. We are history, and the study of history is ourselves. But that study has been manipulated, and the study of how history has been manipulated is very, very, very fascinating. And so for me, the only benefit that I get from this work is that I can then bring to people's attention the work of my mentors, people whose graves are unmarked. The Conor McDarries, Anna Wilkes, Commons Beaumont, Emmanuel Velikovsky. To me, that is the supreme motive of maybe looking into the subject and publishing it.
And there seems to be a heightened interest also for these people's work now that you help to bring forward.
That always needs to be. That's the one thing that makes our age different. In the days of Beaumont and McDarry, you see, nobody gave any attention to this, except maybe very, very few people. So we are now in an age which is very different that way, and people are now up to their eyeballs knowing that they've been lied to. So there's more receptivity. And my work, I always say this, my work is really reserved for those people who know that they've been lied to. It's not for everybody.
Yeah.
My work is going to irritate and very, very much threaten those people who still are believing in the official consensus of everything, both psychological and sociological and historical. My work is exclusively for those who are sick and tired of the lies and who know for sure that that they've been lied to, but there are a group of people who say, well, now I want to know how I've been lied to. Now, knowing that I've been lied to, knowing that I've been deceived, knowing that the subject of history is been manipulated, I wonder what really happened.
Yeah, exactly.
I wonder who I really am. I wonder who my ancestors really were. And it's right now we are in this age. There seems to be a spirit abroad in the world. For instance, new discoveries about the Vikings. I'm talking about ancient history, but even Christian history. Who were the Vikings? Who were the Normans? We're restoring a lot of these errors that have been created, and certain myths that have been put forward by even recent groups is now coming to light. So right across the board, not just with stuff about Atlantis and Ireland and what I would call alternative history, but even in mainstream history, finds. And you better brace yourself, because there's going to be more and more and more of this. And each new discovery is going to radically transform what we know about the world, what we know about the divisions and borders. Remember last time we were talking about the land bridges?
Yeah.
But again, that's ancient history. I'm talking about history that would even be taught officially. We're going to have to tear up and burn a lot of theories, because every week there's a new theory about man, a new theory about the countries and the divisions, a new revelation about the role of women in society. Like in the Incas, they've just discovered new discoveries, that throw a whole new light on the role of women in the Inca society. You see, so every new discovery trashes that which was before, and I feel very good about that.
And it's so many discoveries also that it's almost difficult to piece it all together. And I guess a big part of this work is to actually see where these pieces that now come to light, where they fit in the puzzle, so to speak.
That's right. It is a puzzle, but again, it's only a puzzle. It's only a mystery, because man has been, as we said in previous shows, colonialized. His brain has been colonialized. The great structures, of his ancestors have been misinterpreted. But anyone who's done any homework, anyone who's walked out to these ancient sites, understands that there's a mystery. But is that mystery really a mystery? Or is it a mystery because we've been told a pack of lies about what's been going on? Mm-hmm. But we are in an age, look at what Morris Cotterill has discovered about the Grail. Right? Look what Butler and Defoe have discovered about, the salt lines. Maybe later we can talk about that, the great, incredible matrix of ley lines that surround the world. What more fascinating can you do of an evening but study who you've been and where the world has been and what has happened on this earth, So right now we are the most really fortunate generation that you can imagine, because we're suddenly going to understand this mystery of the languages, this mystery of the movement of races. And sure, it means that when you take on this alternative study, it might mean that you will have a complete reversal of everything you've been taught. It might mean that, and you're going to have to handle that.
And isn't that interesting then? Because that I think that kind of underlines what you said previously, that this is about the study of yourself. and how the study of these, ancient history, that this is a study of yourself, because yourself are so, you react to it so strongly, so to speak. So it's a kind of an evidence right there that this is a piece of you that you're studying.
Well, I've always thought that. Like I keep saying to people, and it sounds like a contradiction, that I'm not really that interested in history. People will go, wait a minute, you've just been talking all about history. That's right, because I know the connection between history and consciousness, history and who you are. Now, this is not taught in school. History is put before us in school as one of the most boring things you could ever want to learn. Learning about the tyrants, learning about the mass murderers, learning about the psychopaths. Well, you shouldn't like it.
The kings and their names.
Yes, I want to see you hating it. Because why would you want to learn all that rubbish? It's so much more interesting to find out, the truth about what's been going on, and why schools would be wanting to teach you that. Because they're interested in, they work for Big Brother. So, of course, they're going to be insinuating what Freud called, father complex into you. You're nothing. You're an underclass. You're the lower rung of the ladder here. You don't matter. Your forefathers don't matter. Your forefathers were chained. Your forefathers were slaves. Your forefathers were feudal serfs. Boy, if you didn't do what the Baron said, that's it. You're going to be strung up, burned at the stake, put in the stocks. You don't matter. The politicians matter. And see, once this is insinuated into people for generation after generation in the schools, in this Dickensian way, don't you understand that the politicians of the world, no matter who they are, think they matter?
Yeah.
They have a huge psychopathic ego complex. Walking on the red carpet, sitting at the walnut table, dinners galore. I mean, people, in Britain will remember the wonderful, show, Yes, Minister, and Yes, Prime Minister. Get those out again. Get those DVDs out again. Watch it again. Go on YouTube, go on Google, borrow it from a pal, I don't care. Watch that again. That show shows you just how monstrous this system is. And the kings and the queens, they don't need it to be instilled. It's already instilled. That they're an overclass. Well, I'm not a communist. I'm against communism. But you don't have to be a communist to know that that's nonsense.
That's right.
And that no man is above another man. And if a man is superior, because I do believe there is superiority, then it's a moral superiority and possibly an intellectual superiority. But those people aren't going to lord it over you. The morally superior and the intellectually superior are midwives, are caretakers, are elders who say, okay, I will show you where the signposts are. But I'm not going to walk for you the journey. See, the druid, the elder, the mystic, the shaman, the teacher, he says, hey, I can show you where the map is through the forest. Come on, I'll show you. And I might even teach you to read. But I'm not going to, read it for you and then walk the road for you. I will lead you to where the knowledge is. I will lead you to where the instructions are, the instructions for life. And then it's all yours. Because I will not infringe upon your sovereignty. I will not impinge upon your free will. Well, see, what defines a sorcerer is that they do all the opposite of what I've just said. They don't teach you to read. They keep you in ignorance. They don't show you where the life map is. They have already gone down into the forest and put landmines there, so you're not going to be able to get through. All sorts of spooks, all sorts of pitfalls, all sorts of chasms, you see.
Yeah.
Like Indiana Jones in The Last Crusade. You're not going to get through those last initiations. You're not even going to get on the starting line. Because they've written so many lies and so many false maps and they've torn so many pages from the book of history that you'd give up. It's not Hollywood. People have given up. So they sit in their houses and they do whatever they do and they watch television because they feel, I'm ignorant. And the elders are all gone who was to show us the way.
You were talking about that generations basically have been conditioned like this. And do you think that there potentially could be a connection with some kind of genetic memory here? Because my mind is drawn back to the idea of even how you breed